So Voice of One, Crying in the Wilderness started a couple years ago. I started taking some Zoom songwriting guitar guidance lessons from a person named Marty Wilson Piper. And Marty is a famous rock musician that played in the church in All About Eve's. So we were talking about concept albums, rock operas like Tommy, and we talked about how cool they were, and no one really does that. So in talking about that, we talked about John the Baptist and how that would be such a great topic to do because no one has ever done that. As I was showing him the songs I was writing, he noticed that they were more progressive in nature, and he just kind of guided me to write more of that genre. I wanted to tell the story of John the Baptist through music to convey, what he went through, his struggles, his hardship, and his really conviction to tell the truth and to go about his mission. And I think, the different songs in the album, Through His Birth, Through Death, really show his faith and how he was just convicted to do those things and to carry out his plan. Rock opera, rock concept album. What I really like that about is like the bigness of it, how you can express a lot through that medium. It's just really intense. Albums like The Wall, again like Tommy, are really inspirational to create that story. And what I really like doing about the album is that I started from John's birth to his death, and I was able to capture that in music. It was a little bit challenging. We used all vintage instruments and all vintage amps. For example, I had my 66 Rickenbacker 6-string and 12-string. I had my 78 Fender Strat, my 78 Les Paul. And we used all that together. There was no plugins used for any of the guitars, which was really great. And I think using those vintage amps and vintage guitars really brought out that sound, that 70s sound, I think really goes well with John the Baptist because, he was like a wild looking guy, and I think that really captured that, his look was captured with that sound. Yeah, so we decided to record in Dallas, Texas. Texas is a great state, and we took advantage of such incredible musicians there. Dallas, in fact, has a lot of great live venues and a lot of great bands. So that was part of the reason for recording there. And I think that being in that state, being in that area really shaped the sound of the album. Yeah, we really brought in some great musicians from Dallas. We had violin players, we had cello players, we had people from the symphony, the Dallas Symphony. We had a drummer from the Polyphonic Spree. So all of these musicians really brought their A game. I know how to read music and write it, so I actually wrote out a lot of those parts, which made it easier. It was almost like putting together a puzzle, some of these pieces, because some of them had different time signatures, but it was really satisfying to hear it all come together. Yeah, putting all the guitar elements together was probably the toughest part of the puzzle. Some of these songs had at least 25 different guitar tracks, and we're talking about a Rickenbacker, 6-string, electric, acoustic. We even had an electric sitar on some of them. I had a pedal steel, and all different types of amps. And for the first song that we did, The Love of God Is All Around Us, it had many time changes, so that was probably the toughest song to do. Yeah, that was really a challenge, but I really love playing guitar, and I really grew to love songwriting. So it was a challenge, but it was really fulfilling. And Marty really helped me along the way to make sure each role was embraced, and I did a good job with each one of them. So I was happy to do all those roles, actually. Voice of One, Crying in the Wilderness, comes out February 3rd. and you can stream it on all those streaming platforms. And also you can go to the website, you can purchase any merch there, CDs, vinyl. The next project I'm going to be doing is, interestingly enough, is about Paul the Apostle. And that has a working title of On the Road to Damascus. So that'll be out later this year. I'm looking forward to that. I want to say thank you to my fans. And I also want to encourage people, if you have a chance and time, to listen to the whole album. Because when you listen to the whole album, you really get a feel for John's story from the beginning to the end. So again, go to my website or stream it on all the major platforms. You know, one thing I want the audience to know, that no guitars were hurt during the recording of this album. So not one string was broken, not one vintage guitar fell. So I think that's really important, especially for people that love vintage guitars.
Cool.
I don't know.